Hello everybody, welcome to Gmania Studios YouTube channel. I'm Benga, and today we're going to be talking about tools in Flash. And today I'm just going to be taking you through the basic tools we're going to be using while we are animating. And the first thing you need to know about Flash is that Flash is a vector-based program. And what that means is, for example, if you were to be drawing in Photoshop, Photoshop is a bitmap-based program. Flash, when you are drawing in Flash and you draw a stroke and you zoom in, you will notice that it doesn't depixelate when you zoom in real close. But if you are drawing in Photoshop, by the time you zoom in a few times, you already start seeing depixelation. The pixels start getting depixelated, and that's just the basic difference. The difference between a vector and a bitmap based program. Okay, that said, I'm just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to be discussing the toolbar, and if you notice, the toolbar is actually subdivided by that little gray dash right there, and you can see the dash is right there. It's also here, and there. Alright, so what these dashes mean is like they're actually subdivided. They are subdivided, and the first division right here is where you have your selection tools, and these tools right here are what you're going to be using to select the objects you already have drawn on your stage. Then the next one are your drawing tools. The next selection, which is from here to here, is your drawing tools, and that's what you're going to be using to draw your objects, pencils and typical like brushes and stuff you generally use to draw. Alright, so the next one is where you have your paint and your eraser. You can just, if we were to give it a name, let's just put it as a modifying panel. Alright, so the next one is for your color and your color palette. Let's just call it the color palette, and then this last one is for your properties. And your properties are just the stuff you're going. It's going to change based on the tool you have selected at the moment. So it's going to be changing. Alright, so let me just go straight right into the first tool, which is the pen tool. Now the pen tool is pretty easy to use. And basically how you use it is you select your pencil right there. When you select your pencil right there, all you have to do is to select the beginning and the end point of the line you want to draw. So for example, if I wanted to draw a line from here to here, and then it draws that automatically. And if I wanted to draw another line down, I just click where the next point I want the line to reach. But if the pencil can also be used to draw a curve, a curve, and the way you can do that is by, when you click, you don't let go. You click and you drag. So when you click and you drag it then turns into a curve. So I'm just going to show you. So you click and you drag, and then it becomes a curve. And this curve is called a Bezier curve. And a Bezier curve, this handles right here, they're called Bezier handles, and that's what you use to change the degree of how much you want the curve to be curved. Okay, now when you have that's basically all what the pen tool is all about, but there are sometimes that when you want to draw, okay, for example, now if you have this line going all the way like this and you want to come back here, you can see that there's a circular icon right under the pen tool icon. So that means you're about to close that object. It's going to be enclosed. So all you just have to do is just click it right there, and then it joins together. Okay, so after the pen tool, we have I'm just going to use this to discuss the sub selection tools and the selection tool. What the selection tool and the sub selection tool, the major difference between them is one is used for selecting, to move stuffs around and resize them. Well, let me just show you. I think it'll be easier to show you. Alright, this selection tool right here can be used to select things. just all you have to do, you can either select by just clicking what you want like this, and as you can see it becomes a little bit bold, and you can move it here and there depending on what you want to do. And then the second thing you can use this selection tool to do is to create a marquee to select a larger area, and doing that you can then move the entire object you selected. Alright, then the difference, like I was saying, the difference between the selection and the sub-selection tool is that the sub-selection tool is used for editing Bezier curves, basically, which is what we've drawn with the pen tool. And once you take the sub-selection tool and you click on the curve, you then see these nodes, the nodes that the coordinates that the computer has used to draw this particular line, this particular object is what you see. And then you can go in and select those lines and edit them any way you want to. Move them up. You can move it this way, or you can change the steepness of the curve here and there. And that's just the major difference between the selection tool and the sub-selection tool. One is used for editing Bezier curves, while the other one is just used for selecting stuffs. Alright, so the next tool, which is the free transform tool, and the free transform tool is very useful too, because you can use that to actually, for example, if you have something selected like this, if you double click it, it will select the entire object. Alright, if you have something selected like that, the free transform tool is what you can use to resize it, or distort the length and breadth of the shape, or you can also use it to rotate it. And that's just what the free transform tool is all about. It's just used to manipulate or move it around. Alright, so then the next tool I'm going to be talking about is the lasso tool. And the lasso tool is similar to the selection tool, but it's just that you can now you have the extra edge of going, not having to restrict yourself to using a box. You could take any shape you want. It's just more for convenience in some certain times when you're going to be needing it. Alright, so that's just what the lasso tool is all about. Okay, the next tool we are going to move on to is the line tool. And the line tool, just like the pen tool, it also draws Bezier curves, basically, and strokes. They are also called strokes. The curve I'm talking about, when you see a curve, it's called a stroke in Flash. So all this because they are made up of one line, basically, it's called a stroke. So if you actually click it and zoom in, you will find out that it's actually just one line that is actually there, but it's the thickness that you see, but it's actually a very thin line, but you can increase the thickness, and I'll show you how to increase the thickness right here. If you go to the properties panel right here and you draw it out, once you open the properties panel, you can see, once you open the properties panel, you can see the stroke size right here, and you can see that you can actually edit how thick you want the stroke to be. If you want it really big, or something very small to be, this is how the original line actually is. This is actually how it is. All these other lines too, they're actually just one line, and that's just basically what a curve is called in Flash, basically. Alright, so so we've talked about the line. Basically, you could change the kind of line you want. If you want a dashed line, if you want a ragged line, for example, if you want a ragged line, you can see the line is ragged. Let's just increase the size so you can see that. You can see the line is ragged like that. So you can actually, depending on the options you want, you can actually change it right there. Alright, then you can also do the same thing. So this property panel applies to the pen tool as well. It applies to the pen tool as well. So if you want, whatever you change on the stroke and this particular properties panel for the tool, you also applies to the pen, the line. Okay, alright, so then the next tool we are going to talk about is the pencil tool. Let me just get rid of all this on the screen. The pencil tool. And the pencil tool too, the same thing applies. You could change the width of the line. You can change the type of line you want. And the pencil tool is basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing as the pen tool. They both draw Bezier curves or strokes. They both draw strokes. So basically what I'm talking about, the line, the pen tool and the pencil tool, they all draw strokes. The line, pencil and pen tool, they all draw strokes, and they are all controlled by the same parameter under the properties. Yeah. Okay, now if you want to change the color of a particular pencil, pen or line, you can either come here and change it where you see the icon of the pencil and change the color from there, or you go right here and you can also change it from right there. Now you have to note that once you change this color, you are changing the color of the line, the pen and the pencil tool simultaneously, basically at the same time, basically. So whenever you choose your line, it's going to be the same color as that pencil, and when you choose your pen tool, it's going to be the same color and the same property as the pencil and the line. Okay, so let's move on to the next tool. The next tool is let's talk about the text, and that's basically text is for writing text. So if you just click wherever you want the text to be, you just, that's just basically what the text is. You could just use it to write text, and you notice that it changes once you select your text. The property panel changes, so you can edit perhaps the kind of font you want, the size, the color. Basically this is where you're going to be editing all of that. Okay, so that's basically it for the text. That's basically it for the text. Then we move on to we've talked about the line, and we move on to the rectangle tool. Now the rectangle tool is made up of two elements. It's made up of the fill and it's made up of the stroke. Alright, so if we draw a rectangle, let me just reduce the size of this. If we draw a rectangle, it's going to be based on the colors that we have here. You understand? So now the fill color, for example, if I wanted a red rectangle and a black outline, so I'm just going to change the colors to red and black. And this, I think I called it rectangle tool. It's actually called the shape tool, because once you click the shape tool, it's not only rectangle that is there. You actually have ovals and polygons and all the other stuffs. But for now, I'm just going to be using the rectangle as an example. Alright, so now you can just draw your rectangle just by dragging and dropping it. And if you can notice, let me just increase the size of that so you can see what I'm talking about. So it's actually it's made up of a fill, which is the inner portion, and a stroke, which is the outer portion. And a stroke is the same. This stroke is the same thing as the kind that we drill with the pen, the line, and the pencil tool. They're basically the same thing. So they have the same properties. This is where you change the properties as well. And the fill is the let's just say the color that you use, that the stroke is enclosing. Okay, so yeah, that's it. If you really want to change, you can also change the style of the line from this place right here, depending on the kind of line you want. You can change the size, you can just experiment with that. that's pretty much it for the shape tool, and the others under it are pretty similar, like the polystar. This polystar, it's just to draw polygons basically. And okay, let me just move on to the next tool. So alright guys, we've come to the end of the video for today. Hope you're able to learn something new. If you found this video interesting, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or suggestion or videos you want me to make, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Till next time, thank you for watching.